evening. This is the Vsb Tv 11 News for Wednesday, February 26th. I'm Peter Cattell. Our top story: doctors who attend tomorrow's special seminar on medical marijuana may be surprised to learn that Dr. Andrea Barthwell's topic, Scientific Development, the Pharmacology of Medical Marijuana, actually hides an impassioned attack on the practice of treating cancer with cannabis oil. This has made her many enemies in North America, where 72% of doctors disagree with her stance, and here in Bermuda among medical marijuana activists. Vsb News' Brian Darby has the details.
Local medical marijuana activist Alan Gordon has raised concerns today about the alleged bias of a medical cannabis speaker being brought in by the Office of National Drug Control to address medical professionals at the King Edward Hospital tomorrow. Mr. Gordon says that Dr. Andrea Barthwell, former Deputy Drug Czar to the Office of the U.S. President, has a controversial history of providing a one-sided and misleading presentation against the practice of using marijuana oil to fight cancer. Mr. Gordon said that the speaker was heavily anti-cannabis and also unfamiliar with Bermuda, and that she once suggested Bermuda would become a smuggling point for Caribbean drugs to reach the U.S. He added that Bermuda's doctors are already so misled by medical cannabis misinformation that Dr. Barthwell is the last thing they need. Because of the local refusal by doctors to prescribe medical cannabis, he last week escorted 6 Bermudian cancer patients to the U.S. for lawful treatment with concentrated cannabis oil, which could save their lives. But he worried about the patients who would not afford to travel or were too sick to do so. He mentioned that CNN's Dr. Sanjay Gupta used to be opposed to medical cannabis like Dr. Barthwell and Bermuda's doctors, but he looked more closely and saw that he had been misled. Gordon said that he hoped Dr. Barthwell will likewise modernize her approach, since patients whose doctors won't help them lawfully and safely use cannabis medicine will just ignore their doctors and do it with street cannabis. Mr. Gordon praised the Cannabis Reform Collaborative for bringing in a more knowledgeable speaker last night in the person of Dr. Jeffrey Hergenrather. Brian Darby reporting for Vsb News.
On February the 14th, Bermuda experienced hours of torrential rain, which led to a wall collapsing on Palmetto Road and tumbling down into the side of one man's family home. Just over a week has gone by since the disaster, and VSB's Julia Smat revisited the family. Homeowner John Roach explained that he hopes to see the situation dealt with more urgently.
John Roach was visibly frustrated as he told VSB News that he had gone to bed on the eve of February 14th, only to be awakened after 4 a.m. to crashing sounds. He was horrified to learn the torrential rain had flooded the drainage system on Palmetto Road, resulting in the wall above his home to come crashing down into the side of his home, leaving the rooms of his house filled with dirt and the majority of his family's possessions ruined. Mr. Roach said this particular area on Palmetto Road has been an issue in the past.
The concern was always that they would have to put up traffic lights and divert traffic because the water has to take its time to subside. But the feeling is, for some reason, the boreholes that they have up there were probably full, so the water wasn't going anywhere, and it just reached its...
So do you think that in retrospect, if some sort of action may have been taken, this could have been alleviated, what occurred?
Well, there's always that idea that, yes, if something would have been done, this wouldn't have happened. But it's something that just wasn't done.
Mr. Roach said the Ministry of Works and Engineering has been to his property and explained what progress is being made.
They have taken measures to try and curb the amount of water coming at us. So, you know.
What would you like to see happen in the coming days?
Well, basically, again, as you say, repairs taking place without and within, and men on site saying, here's what the engineers have decided is the best solution for this, and start to, you know, block up the curves or whatever, or be on site and this is what we have to build and so on, because I still have things that need to be cared for. That's why I say within and without. There's a lot of work to be done. Like, you know, cantilever has to be put back. My shed needs to be rebuilt so I can put in my pumps. Right now I'm dipping water. So there's still a lot to be done.
Mr. Roach said his property flooded yet again this past Sunday when Bermuda experienced downpours, and he hopes his situation is handled with a greater sense of urgency.
So those that are working for the cause who would come by and say, look, this is what we're going to do, that's what we're going to do. But it's still, when are you going to do it in that sense, you know? I've asked for a few things to be done, you know, while we got the weather sort of thing, and is always, yes, we're coming, we're going to do it.
I'm Julia Smatt, reporting for Vsb News.
The billions of dollars spent in the war against drugs could be better used for education and health programs. This according to Jack Cole, co-founder and board chair of Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, or LEAP, who is in Bermuda speaking on why drugs should be legalized or regulated. The retired detective tells VSB's Charles Webb that illegal drugs is a billion-dollar industry.
You know, there's $500 billion spent around the world on all drugs. A great portion of that is for marijuana, and if we were taxing that at 20%. As a matter of fact, we commissioned a study with the Harvard School of Economics 3 years ago, and we asked them to tell us, please tell us if we were to legalize, regulate, and tax all illicit drugs, just tax them at the rate of alcohol and tobacco, how much new money would the jointly be received by the federal treasury and all the state treasuries? And they said they figured it up, and they figured it at $88.6 billion in new money every year.
How much impact do you think you bring to the table by the fact that you are a retired police officer who actually was in the war on drugs?
That's where I get all my credibility, every bit of my credibility.
A 61-year-old man appeared in magistrate's court this morning and was one of the first people to be dealt with under a law that charges a person with causing grievous bodily harm by careless driving, which was made Bermuda law in 2012. VSB's Julia Smatt has more.
David Correa pleaded guilty on February 25th to 3 counts of causing serious injury to a married couple and their child as a result of driving without due care. Mr. Correa was represented by defense lawyer Peter Farge and reappeared in court on February 26th for sentencing. The court heard that just before noon on the 3rd of August 2013, Correa had borrowed a friend's car to tend to a painting job he had scheduled in Southampton. The car had stalled multiple times while Correa made his way to his job. However, he continued driving the vehicle. As Mr. Correa neared the junction of Middle Road and Sea-Swept Farm Road, a car carrying a husband and wife and their 3 young children was traveling in the opposite direction. It was then that Mr. Correa's car swerved into the other lane, hitting the car carrying the family head-on. Police who arrived to the scene described it as chaotic and said both cars were extensively damaged. The family of 5 was taken to the hospital and suffered from various injuries, including sight damage, traumatic rib fractures, and abrasions. At the scene of the accident, Mr. Correa said that his car had been, quote, acting crazy all day. After hours of litigation in court, Mr. Correa apologized to the family that was involved and was sentenced to 6 months in prison, suspended for 2 years, as well as a total of $9,000 in fines. Additionally, he was disqualified from driving all vehicles for 2 years. I'm Julia Smatt, reporting for Vsb News.
You can count on us. Purdue Fresh Value Pack Chicken Thighs, only $1.99 per pound. Imported Snow White Cauliflower, just $3.99 each, saving you $1. Wise Potato Chips, all varieties, $1.49 for a 3.75-ounce bag. Buy Yoplait Yogurts, just $1.09 for a 6-ounce tub. Ajax regular or with bleach 2-Axe laundry detergent, only $4.99 for a 50-ounce bottle. Visit our website at www.marketplace.pm for more weekly specials. You can count on us.
The question of whether or not Home Affairs Minister Senator Michael Fay will approve the spending by the Corporation of Hamilton of $100,000 on next October's National Conference of Black Mayors in Bermuda is yet to be determined. But at yesterday's press conference, Alderman Carlton Simmons said that showing respect to black leadership was a priceless ingredient.
One of the first things I realized when we got elected was that the pool of black leadership experience was very limited in Bermuda. And I remember one of the first things we did, we had to make a call to, I believe it was Texas, to speak to one of the first black mayors of Texas so that he could give us, Georgia, right, to give us advice as to some of the challenges he had faced. And I say that to say that one of the other benefits is that our leaders and our people in the community, and as well as us, get an opportunity to rub shoulders with other leaders and to exchange ideas and experiences and learning opportunities and business relationships. And these things can't be understated. And for people who have sort of come into the reins of leadership, that experience, that opportunity to network with other people who have taken the journeys we have started to take are priceless. Not to mention the business opportunities, the exposure to ordinary Americans and people from all around the world once they have to go back and make reports and explain to their constituents what they've done. So I think that the thread of what's going to come out of this conference is enormous. But what I cannot see is how this could be a negative thing for Bermuda. And that's the sort of the challenge I'm having with sort of the posture that I feel like I'm hearing. That I don't see how getting more people here with the potential to expose. I mean, I think tourism would do cartwheels to be able to have an opportunity like this. And I think if they were doing it, we wouldn't be getting this sort of flack. So I think sometimes it is the messenger. That said, the corporation is hosting this mayor's conference, and we expect to bring a lot of people here. And I can't see nothing bad that could come out of it. The only thing I would say is that having taken a journey to Colombia, the amount of respect that we received as international dignitaries is something that I hope we can extend to all our mayors when they eventually get here, starting today.
Having identified a record 832 humpback whales as having visited Bermuda in the past year, local whale researcher Andrew Stevenson is looking forward to presenting his 8th annual update on the whale saga at the BUEI Theatre on Thursday night, starting at 7:30 p.m. And included in his pictures will be the first ever sighting of a whale calf being born in Bermuda waters just 2 weeks ago, an amazing accomplishment for the intrepid photographer. The illustrated lecture is being put on to raise funds for the Humpback Whales Research Initiative, and tickets cost $25 from BDA Tix or at the door. Finance Minister Bob Richards has made it clear in both his budget speech and in his address to the Chamber Budget Breakfast that Bermuda will lose its financial independence if it does not return to the days when the public purse was handled prudently and responsibly.
All bailouts or backstops by outside entities come with a cost. It is our collective misfortune that Bermuda sunk so deeply into debt because it called into question our long-established reputation for prudent and responsible management of the public purse. The onus is on us to do better. Any continuing failure to manage our spending prudently will surely cost Bermuda its financial independence. Higher debt service costs will pressurize the government to raise taxes to fund this burden. How many people want to have their taxes raised? No one. Some might say, why not just tax the rich or the rich exempted companies? They can afford to pay. They can also afford to leave. The last government tried that with disastrous results. The departure of some of those companies in the years running up to the last election was connected to that bad policy mistake. So, yes, we are still financially independent, but there's little room for error, and the risks are real. These risks are shouldered by Bermudians from all walks of life: landlords and tenants, employers and employees, borrowers and savers, shoppers and shopkeepers, entrepreneurs and civil servants, rich and poor. Mr. Speaker, it is with this background in mind that I reiterate that the option of doing nothing, that is continuing as we are or steady as she goes, is not an acceptable option. Such a course, lacking in courage and fortitude, will only lead to financial calamity for this island.
The Bermuda Police Service are holding a neighborhood watch launch meeting for residents of Rocklands and Swansville in Warwick on Thursday at 6 p.m. and will be using the Warwick Holiness Church, Spice Hill, near the junction with Lusher Hill. The Community Action Team Community Policing Division will be represented by a team led by Constable Keola Thompson, who can be contacted at 247-1471 or 717-2270 with any questions. Now, here are the daily markets, presented by Bias.
Here are the daily markets, presented by Bias. Stocks in the U.S. failed to close above historic highs, while bond prices rose as auction of treasuries witnessed strong demand. In the U.S., the S&P 500 erased earlier gains after it failed to hold above its record close for a third straight day. The index closed at 1,846, up 0.05%. Trading volume rose in shares of Bank of Butterfield, with the stock price rising 6.32%. Other Bermuda-related stocks listed in the U.S. remained mixed. The UK index declined after having reached close to a 14-year high. Investors expect the rally to halt as the Bank of England raises the interest rates. The FTSE 100 was down 0.46% at the end of trading. Japanese stocks fell with declines led by energy shares and retail. The Nikkei fell below the 15,000 mark to close 0.54% lower at 14,971. Latin American indices continued their correction as investors remain cautious of their economic fundamentals and slowing growth prospects. Mexico fell 1.22% and Brazil declined 0.25% at the end of trading. The U.S. auction of $35 billion worth of 5-year notes was met with strong demand amid concerns of a slowdown in the economy. Prices of U.S. Treasuries rose across the board, with the 10-year yielding 2.66%. The U.S. dollar strengthened against major peers as new home sales in the U.S. unexpectedly rose last month. The dollar gained 0.43% against the euro and 0.12% against the yen as of the last trade. And that was a look at the daily markets presented by Bias.
Most of us are living fast-paced lives, and the idea of stopping to eat every 4 hours is laughed upon, but you can do it with these quick ideas that you can make ahead of time and keep in a cooler bag. From a veggie burger with whole wheat roll, lettuce, tomato, and organic condiments, nuts, protein bars, hard-boiled eggs and veggies, string cheese, fruit, and why not take your fruit and protein smoothie on the go? All of these healthy meals are easy to prepare, are satisfying and delicious, and everything you need to eat healthy and be happy is at the marketplace.
It's our fantastic February savings event going on now. We have something for every room of your home and incredible savings all month long. Browse around our site to find exactly what you're looking for. New styles, new colors, a new look for your home. We have a huge selection of beautiful furniture and amazing prices that won't last long. So stop in today. You won't want to miss our fantastic February savings event going on now.
The Bermuda Sun's Tips for Seniors is called The Good Life After 55. Read about keeping your heart healthy, questions answered about cancer, and choosing the right pension. The Good Life After 55 is in the Bermuda Sun on Friday.
The Association of Bermuda International Companies, which represents over 112 international companies here, has praised the government for its approach to this year's budget and its support of the Bermuda Business Development Agency, the Bermuda Tourism Authority, and the review of the 60-40 investment rule. It points out that international business provides more than 80% of our foreign exchange, 1/3 of our air visitors, and a majority of the jobs held by Bermudians. ABIC says its members identify cost, immigration reform, and a business-friendly environment as key issues, and praised the progress that has been made in each area. The sports report is next, after the break.
In celebration of Black History Month, the Defence Broadcasting Company Limited is proud to present films acknowledging the contributions made by black people throughout the world. See these historic films at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays during Black History Month. On Vsb Tv 11, sponsored by Belco, Lindo's, Gibbons Company, Bermuda Bistro, Caesar's Pharmacy and Sports R Us.
The ICC High Performance Manager for the region, Andy Pick, is back on island, but for the last time in his present role. In the first part of an interview, he speaks about the state of Bermuda cricket and his new job.
Yep, I've taken up a role going back to coaching in first-class cricket back in England with Notts as the bowling coach. So this is my last task really with ICC Americas before I finish at the end of this week. So yep, a great way to finish, to come back to Bermuda. So a lot of happy memories working with guys back here, and yeah, so it's been a nice way to finish.
Yeah, 4.5 years as the ICC High Performance Manager for the region.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, took on the job in October '09, and since then obviously I've been working quite closely with the countries on their high performance programs and trying to offer advice and coaching and just all things high performance really, wherever I can help whoever happens to be running it at any given time.
Yeah, where's the focus for this, as I call it, the last stint?
Yeah, we've talked about, I think Bermuda is sort of reaching a watershed really with cricket, and are probably looking towards making some fairly stiff changes in the way that they're going to run things, certainly high performance and elite players and stuff like that. And so it's been revolving around the senior team and their preparation for World Cricket League. It's been revolving around the academy, possibly of an introduction of a under-17 team into the local league, women's initiatives, try and get more women playing and increase the numbers there. So you know, a variety of different projects that are looking to sort of take off, and sort of giving a little bit of advice and help where I can.
Yeah, Andy, let's not beat around the bush here. We've been taking a hammering on the international stage. We have some talented players here, but when we get over there against the big boys in the region, we just can't seem to get it together.
Yeah, it's tough really. It is tough, you know, and I think you know, there's got to be an element of a reality check, and you know, having played in the 2007 World Cup, you know, my opinion from outside is that shouldn't be a benchmark still. It shouldn't be a case of, well, if we're not in the World Cup, we're not doing very well, because you know, that I don't think that's the case. Things have moved on now, and other countries have improved massively. Personnel have changed playing wise in Bermuda and stuff like that, and so you know, that shouldn't just be the benchmark. But I think, you know, you face a number of different challenges, whether it be and the amount of cricket that your international cricketers play. I'm a firm believer that there's not enough international cricket, and that's not Bermuda's fault to a degree. That's the structure within ICC, that they don't play enough cricket. To learn how to play the game, you have to play the game ultimately. You can do all the technical coaching and you can provide players with the tools to use in the game, but they also need to learn when to get which tool out of the bag and when to use it, and you can only do that by playing.
In part two, Mr. Pick elaborates on how the ICC is moving away from high performance to more participation for cricketers. The weather report is still ahead after the break.
That should do it. Enjoy your new shower.
Experience the bold look of Kohler at a Kohler registered showroom.
Well, a very pleasant day in all, and best of all, no rain. Well, not yet. I'm Che Barker, and this is your weather. Let's take a look at our weather shot for today. This shot taken at 5:30 at Ferry Reach, taken by Lola, and you can actually feel that the temperature had started to drop, and there was a bit of a change. We're looking to see some moisture coming our way, and you could definitely feel it. Lovely shot of sunset over Ferry Reach. I was actually down there. Thank you, Lola, for sending this one in. Our high today was 73 degrees, which actually matches the record high set back in 1994 at 12 p.m. And our low temperature, 66, which is at 2 a.m. this morning. Currently, we're looking at 69 degrees, humidity 80%, winds out of the south-southwest at 10 knots, and the barometric pressure is unsteady at 29.84. Rainfall index, well, we've seen 7.14 inches of rain for February. It has been very wet. We're pretty close to the normal year total of 9.95 inches that we'd have normally seen for the entire year. So far for the year, 13.37 inches. Take a look at our satellite map. Well, showers will develop overnight as a frontal boundary makes its approach on Thursday morning. You can see all this moisture that is headed our way. Now that boundary is going to stall across the area on Thursday afternoon, bringing showers and rain and winds. And the boundary will then linger across the area, keeping that rain and showers heavy at times right through, unfortunately, into Saturday. In the gateway cities, Atlanta will be mostly sunny and 49, partly cloudy in Boston and 28 degrees, 54 and mostly sunny in Charlotte. London, we got heavy rain and 52, 81 and rain is likely in Miami. In New York, they'll be blustery and 29 degrees, 66 and rain is likely in Orlando, breezy and 34 degrees in Philadelphia. Toronto, we got mostly cloudy and 52, and Washington, mostly sunny and 39 degrees. For tonight, we're looking at a low temperature of around 63 degrees, partly to mostly cloudy, 1 or 2 showers developing overnight. Winds out of the southwest at 12 to 18 knots, but they will increase overnight at 18 to 24 knots. For tomorrow, high temperature around 71 degrees. I hate to see that. The rain is on its way, cloudy with rain and showers increasing throughout the day. Winds out of the southwest at 18 to 24 knots, and you can see they'll increase again 20 to 30 knots, gusts all the way up to gale force at 40 knots. Then they'll veer to the west-northwest and decrease overnight 12 to 18 knots. For mariners tonight, there is a small craft warning in effect. Seas inside the reef 1 to 2 feet, seas outside the reef 3 to 6 feet, and your sea temperature 68 degrees. For mariners tomorrow, small craft warning still in effect. High tide will be at 6:31 a.m., low tide 12:59 p.m. Seas inside the reef 2 to 4 feet, and seas outside the reef are pretty high, 8 to 12 feet. Let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. On Thursday, cloudy with rain showers increasing throughout the day. You've got big gusts and gale force out there, high of 71. Friday, cloudy with rain and showers, high of 67. Saturday, cloudy with occasional showers easing later, high of 65. Sunday, sunny periods, 1 or 2 showers, high of 66. And Monday, partly cloudy, high 69. I'd like to thank the Bermuda Weather Service for their help, and a special shout out to Eric Fontenot, who's visiting here from Louisiana. Thanks for coming. Good to see you. For the rest of you, have a great night. I'll see you again real soon.
Thanks for tuning in to the TV 11 News. Good night.
Peter Cattell's attire courtesy of A.S. Cooper & Sons Limited.
Vsb Tv 11, Bermuda.